Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Open Mic. I'm your host, Ramzi Chiri, and this is my wonderful co-host, Tanys Coughlin.
Thank you.
Tanys,
Always an honor.
before we go to tonight, what do you do?
What do I
I
do?
keep on forgetting to introduce ourselves at the beginning of
Well,
the
what do you do? You start.
What do? I do nothing. I'm a psychic medium and I do a lot of energy healing. But I found my niche in mediumship and psychic readings. That's what my forte is at the moment, along with open mic with Tanys.
Which he does a wonderful job at both. So, I'm Tanys Coughlin from the Twillo Lifestyle Community, Twillo Lifestyle Academy. I am an intuitive energy healer. I am a Celtic shamanic high priestess, galactic ambassador, crystal master. I do stuff.
A lot of
stuff. Much stuff. Fun stuff. All fun stuff.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're talking behind the mic.
Oh.
That's what I called it. Behind the mic.
Behind the mic. Do I have a? I don't have a mic.
You don't have a mic because it's like
a candle. No, my mic is here, but if I move it, then you won't hear me properly the rest of the show.
Just want to say, last episode, it was a bit passionate. I'm trying to find a word for it.
He was super tired, everyone, and he was.
I was passionate about the topic.
Yes.
You know, really spending almost what do you call it? 7 plus around 15 to 17 hours at airports, and you're just going flick. You're just trying to waste time, basically. Not waste time, but fill out your time, and all you see is humanity disappearing. So it got to a point where I was like so touched. Actually, I was really sad, and I didn't know that it was sitting inside me, that sadness, and then during the show, it just like, along with being tired, it just like poof, exploded. With, I think there was a colorful word in there, but it was all good.
Well, we all use those sometimes,
Yeah.
You mean you were human?
Yeah.
You had like feelings like humans?
Yeah. Sometimes I do have that, and it does rise every now and then. It's like the waves of the ocean. They go up and down. We have one of our guests on, Anessa. Welcome.
Hello, Anessa. Welcome to the show.
So today I thought maybe we can continue and go behind the scene with Tanys and Ramzi and figure out what brought them here, what happened, how did they wake up, and how can we guide others to kind of wake up.
All right.
Sushi. I like the name.
Twisted Sushi.
Twisted. Okay, I like the name. Sushi. I didn't see the
Twisted Sushi. Hello. How are you?
And
Thank you for joining us.
Facebook user, if you can put your name, that will be awesome. Sometimes it doesn't show your name.
I'm just pulling up that stuff so that maybe I will see it as well. And that would be Shem. Hey, Shem. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. So let's start with Tanys. When yes.
Awesome. Good to hear.
What is awakening? I just want to go into this thing. There's a woke culture, wars, and all of this, and usually wars that they never end well. All kinds of wars. We did all kinds of war, and humanity hasn't learned anything yet. So there is a culture war over the word woke, awaken. So what does awaken means? And it's not associated. It didn't come out yesterday. It came out like way before, since the Buddha's time, actually, because on the day that he awakened, per se, he released the veil off of his eyes and was able to see life as it is, which is a dance rather than, what we see every day: run, work, do stuff, buy a car, get in debt, continue working in a job that you hate, and it's like a rat race. And then at the end, we all go. By the way,
Yeah.
everybody expires at the end of the day. No one stays behind. It's like
No one gets out of here alive. In the meat suit. I mean, anyway, the meat
Yeah.
suits don't get out of here alive. We all get out of here otherwise.
So it started 2,500 years ago when the Buddha awakened, and from there was 1,000 awakened Buddha. Which, if you go to temples, like I like to visit every time I travel to the east, they always have a shrine for the 1,000 Buddhas that followed the original Buddha's path and awakened.
Mm-hmm.
And they honor all humans who have reached that enlightened space. And enlightenment in the old days, it used to be, let's go to the mountains, sit in a cave, I don't know, play with whatever lives in caves.
Crystals live in caves. Let's play with crystals.
And wait until something happens and there's a spark of a shift, a change in your energy, in the way you see things, and all of a sudden everything changes for you and you become awakened and you come back from the mountain and you bring stuff with you. Moses did that. He brought the 10 Commandments. So there's tons of men and women throughout the nonetheless,
Someone's talking to you, aren't they?
A lot of people that awaken throughout the generations, and they brought whatever wisdom that they've seen, or whatever wisdom that they've experienced, to help out other on the same path. Who said that? I can't remember. Somebody said we're all walking.
Someone wise. Oh, Ram Dass.
Yeah.
Ram Dass said that. We're all walking each other home. Yeah.
We're walking each other home. So that's all we do. So let's walk it gently, so that the grass underneath our foot doesn't break. Let's walk it with compassion and love, so that the journey will be easy to digest, which is it really is easy once you remove a lot of these things. So I thought tonight we could talk about that, and whoever has something to share or wants to have questions or whatever it is, please jump in. And we got
a big hello to Ocean Garnet.
Yeah, hello
for joining us. Hello.
No, sorry, I pressed the wrong one.
Let's walk it holding hands. Yes, Shem.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, in this time especially, being there for each other and checking in on each other, and just, sending each other love and light, like, just even if it's like a random, I'm going to send love and light to this person today. It's just it's what we need to do, is check on each other. Right.
Absolutely.
Hi, Vivian. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. So yes, it's important to check on people, even if they're strong, or you feel that they're stronger than anybody else, and you actually depend on them to stand at certain points in time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that sometimes actually need that crutch. Okay,
I don't even know if it's a crutch. I think sometimes, everybody needs love sometimes, right? So show them the love. That's all. Just be there, hold space for them.
So, Tanys.
Yes.
How did you get here? What happened?
Well, my mom and dad did.
No, not that far back.
You're talking spiritual journey.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that I have always been a sensitive, but I didn't know it. So I would say that my spiritual awakening started really when I was going through a lot of stress. I was in a management position and had about 300 employees under me with so a lot of stress, having to deal with that and contract management with a government agency and a whole bunch of stuff. And as I was getting very stressed out, I was looking for something to help relieve the stress because I was very different from what I am now. I was very like perfection. Everything had to be just right because I was terrified of being judged, terrified of doing anything out of the ordinary. Had to do, what was expected of me all the time. And I ended up going and having a Reiki session. And I left there and I never felt so good. I was like, oh my God, I need to learn how to do this. And so I always joke about Reiki being my gateway drug. So I went for a few more sessions, of course, and then I took my Reiki 1, which is all about self-healing. I was working, 12-hour days, I'm taking my HR management classes, doing local theater. I had a young son at the time, all of that stuff, married. And so it was necessary to continue to do those things at the time. So didn't really jump into it all that much. Got done my level 2. Ended up, we had a change in management where I was, and things got even more stressful. So I ended up leaving there, pretty much in burnout, and took a little bit of time off, went and found another job. Of course, I'm a slow learner, so I took something really similar. In the meantime, I got my level 3 and then my master's. And of course, as you do that, you become more and more aware of actual energy dynamics, right? Realized that where I was just not a good space to be. Because the second situation was worse than the first. And ended up leaving there and was faced with a decision. So I'd gotten my HR certification, so HR management certificate and my applied management certificate. Was trying to decide kind of what to do. And I had heard about the Ontario Self-Employment Benefit Program. And so the guides told me one day I was out with my husband, they're like, you need to go in there. And I'm like, okay. So I go in and I find out about the program, and next thing I know, I start my business. I was faced with deciding whether to start it in HR or start it in Reiki. Yeah, well, HR is, what's expected. So I did that first. Because, like I said, slow learner. So I started that, and I ended up, not even telling anybody that I did a lot of Reiki or energy healing, thinking that was too woohoo, and that my HR clients wouldn't get it. And so I didn't want to like put it out there. Everything I went to, all the networking things that I went to, I always ended up talking to the yoga teacher, the coach, the witch and the Wiccan in the room, all of the other energy healers. I was always drawn because, of course, like attracts like, right? So then I ended up starting my other business when it got close to the end of that, because the sales cycle is quite long for HR when you're going business to business. So decided I would do Reiki as well. I had a bit of an instance where I had a download. Will there be any comedy tonight? You missed it already. Sorry. Did you want to say something?
No, I just want just to explain what a download is, just in case people don't.
Oh, yeah. I was going to. Yeah. So I was woken up in the morning, and it was like this. Stick around. We can be funny. It's okay. So I'm responding to some comments, guys, on other platforms. Sorry. So what that means is that I was woken up one morning and the guides were at me about spirituality in the workplace. And I was like, no, you can't talk about spirituality in the workplace because, you know. And they're like, yes, you can. You can't talk about religion. No worries. You can't talk about religion, but you can talk about spirituality. And I was like, okay. Anyway, they wouldn't let me go back to sleep. And I'm not a morning person. And this was like 6 a.m. But they wouldn't let me go back to sleep until I went and wrote a whole article about spirituality in the workplace. So then I go back to bed. I get up. I go and have coffee with a friend in the afternoon, tea or whatever. And I didn't tell her anything about the morning. By then, I was ready to leave. She stops me and she goes, so I have a book I want to give you. She's intuitive too, by the way. So she goes and brings this book to me, The Idiot's Guide to Spirituality in the Workplace. I'm like, seriously? We're name calling already? You just gave me this morning. So I'm like, okay, so obviously there's something around this. So I bring the book home and I flip through it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, that's what you said this morning. All right, cool. By the end of the week, I was supposed to have a meeting with my consultant that was with this program. And so I had all my processes written out, you know, for my HR company, and I was all ready to talk to her, had all my KPIs out. And hi, Lisa. And she comes, she sits down, she goes, what are you going to do if you're not making enough money by the end of the program? I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to have to tell her I do Reiki. I looked at her, do Reiki too. She's like, that's perfect. That's your differentiator, spirituality in the workplace. So I was like, okay. So something switched for me, and I ended up stepping into self-acceptance a little bit more and being like, okay, this is who I am. And so the HR clients that I want to work with are going to be accepting of that because it can actually be a benefit. And, you know, as I stepped into that, I would say that any of the gifts that I had sort of started to have in terms of the awakening just blossomed more, you know. And then I did, of course, because I was doing that, I've been constantly learning as well, doing all sorts of classes and stuff. So I would say that the awakening happened probably because of the burnout sort of stuff in that situation. But I think I would have been there anyway. Like I said, I think they were trying to get me there after the first job. I just was slow. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, I hope it. I think people are amazed at what happened. We have Liz. Sorry,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hello.
And everybody else that's hiring each other. That is awesome.
And Pigeon Patrol, you're not interrupting. It's great. If you're still here, that's great. I just try to respond to people as we go through. It's all good.
So, well, it seems most people have the same type of series of events in their life, including mine when somebody came and told me out of the blue, I had no idea about these things, and said, oh, you should do Reiki. I go, I don't know what that is. Really, I did not know what it was. And they started explaining it to me, and I go, okay, fine. It sounds interesting. Let me go. So I went and bought the book. I read it, and I was like, oh, this is it?
Yeah.
I want it. Now what? And then they said, well, on Meetup, you'll find, events for Reiki and stuff like that. Or set up one. So I couldn't find one. I set up one, and I met my master on the first event. There were like 30 people that came in. And then I took Reiki 1, 2, 3 master level with him. And there where it started my psychic abilities started to come out. I think they were out from before, but we kind of like suppress and not believe and don't trust. And everybody would love to have me work on them so that, I got images, I give it to them, and slowly it started to becoming like a movie about their life, or at least a section of their life that had trapped emotion somewhere.
Mhm.
And then one day, one lady wasn't too great, scared the hell out of me. I said, no, I don't want to see this. I really don't want to see this. I want to help people, but I don't want to see this. So, anyways, I blocked it and I forgot about it. Totally, completely. And then after, started doing spiritual cafe, which I had no idea. I was doing stuff just not to do them because I wanted to do them. I knew I had it in me, but I was still in my egoistic box. Okay, because you don't really realize what is happening because now you read the book. Oh my God, I'm better than you because I do this, but you're still in
Spiritual
that.
significance.
Yes.
That's a disease.
So from that, someone came and told me because if you look at your life, if you look back at your life, you'll see that there's a series of events,
Mhm.
and they weren't what do you call it? Weren't planned or weren't. I was going to say forecasted. It's just the accountant.
Orchestrated. They weren't orchestrated.
There's a divine intervention that happens along the lifeline where
Yeah.
people just cross. Okay, and every time somebody crosses, leaves a seed. And then one day, somebody said, "Oh, you have to read this book, Conversations with God." I go, oh, for heaven's sake, God! Somebody having a conversation with God, you know? Like I'm already done with this. Nah, I'm not gonna read it. It's silly. Second
Uh-huh.
person comes in and says, "Conversation." I go, "Yeah, somebody told me about this. I'll still not in." A third person came in and said, "I go fine now, whatever. Let's go get the book."
Fine, I'll read the book.
I opened the book, and when I closed it, I had finished it, all of it, and my life just went. It shattered. It went into pieces. Everything I believed in, everything I knew, and I go, "Oh my God, this whole thing is a lie." And from there, no, seriously, because it was a profound crack
Mhm.
in my belief, a profound crack. Everything started to shatter. I was like, I wanted to leave and go live literally go into a hermit mode, live in a cave and play with whatever lives over
Crystals.
there, and that's it.
Crystals.
Crystals. And slowly, I started to get back into, uh, if you want to call it normal life, but normal life wasn't normal anymore.
Mhm.
Nothing was interesting. Nothing was what it was. Everything was just off. So slowly, I started to build on something. So I was fixated on Eckhart Tolle,
Mhm.
just understanding, breaking more and more of my ego. And I wasn't doing it to do that. I was doing it to find myself because I realized that I was lost. Although I was there all along, but
We did the midlife crisis find ourselves thing.
it is, and that's why when I see people on those social medias doing silly stuff, I go, you don't know who you are. You
Yeah.
don't, because if you do, you wouldn't do something like that. No matter what. No matter what. Like if, anyways, I should stop ranting. Go ahead.
And that's what the spiritual journey is about, right? It's
Yeah.
about really coming back to self and getting to know yourself
Yeah.
for who you are, not who everybody else tells you to be, right?
Yes.
Like in my story, the fact that I did the HR was because I was trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be. But really, I mean, I actually still do HR, guys, and I do like it, but I needed something more, you know? I needed something more. And
There's
that's when
that
I realized
thirst.
it is.
Yes.
It's a thirst for knowledge. It's a thirst for knowing there's more around us. There's more to this world than just what we see with our eyes. And when you start to awaken and you start to realize that there's much more to all of this, and it's not just, you know, what we're told in the media or what we grew up knowing, or, you know, it's way more profound and way more impactful. You know, you feel it like to your core. When that happens, you realize that, and that's what you were talking about, right? That your whole life changes because your whole perception changes of what's happening around you.
Yeah.
So like, I'm a very different person than I was when I was in that management job. You know, I'm still me, but I'm a very different person. I see things super different. Like, of course, you know, when you start seeing the dead, that'll do that to you. But but you have those moments where you're like, am I going crazy? And then, you know, that's the beauty of having community,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the teachers and stuff with the Twillo lifestyle community, you know, which Ramsey's one of. We all have each other for those days when we're like, okay, this just happened. Am I going crazy? Or is that because, you know, you see stuff and you're like, okay, I haven't seen that before. And then somebody else can feel into it for you, you know, and help you understand that you're not crazy. so so we all need that,
Yeah.
you know, to bounce ideas off of. But it's amazing how it changes your perception of everything when you realize we are actually the energy, and that, you know, the physical body is just a suit we have on, which is why you'll often hear me joke about it being the meat suit. But you know, it's really about that energy, the soul that's within, because that continues. That's who we really are. The ego is the personality of who we are in this lifetime, but the soul is really who we are.
Just to go back on the ego. I know we talked about the ego one time.
Yeah.
You can never kill your ego. Your ego is yourself. But what
Mm-hmm.
you do is you keep your characteristic of who you are, but you change your perception towards others.
Right.
Compassion comes out.
Yes.
Compassion comes out. On this journey, of course, we all go into our ups and downs, and
Of course. And
so
that's never going to end. Like, I want
no,
people to know that, like, just because you start a spiritual journey or you're on the spiritual quest, yeah, better together, absolutely, Twisted Susie. Yeah. Just because you're on that does not mean that you don't get angry, you don't get sad, you don't. We're here to experience those. So we just see it differently. Like, I used to think tears were bad. Now I like welcome them, because it's a way of working through things and processing my energy. So that's what we mean when we say it's just a change of perspective, right?
yeah. So yeah, a lot changes, and we continue to move forward. Like, mediumship wasn't on my mind. Mediumship just got thrown on my lap somehow,
You
and
started seeing the dead.
I what do you call it? Registered for a class in Europe. I had to get up at 2 a.m. to do my class, and I did it, and I did it for 2 years, and I was very happy that I did that, actually. And I'll tell you, the satisfaction that you get is, one, because you understand that there are things beyond our physical eyes or our physical senses. There's stuff beyond that. We might not all see it, or some of us, and I go with groups of like-minded people, and each one of us see different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same with humans. What we do, we all have our own characteristics, and we do things differently, and that's fine. So the beauty of all of this is our differences, not
It
our
is.
similarities. And I'll tell you about this lady, and that's a beautiful thing. I was talking about it yesterday. So I walk into a store in London. I have no idea who these people. Hey, Darren.
Hey.
So I walk into the store. It's a crystal store. I was checking, and then I feel like, look at this lady. Like, check her out, and I don't check people out.
You
But she's
don't?
an older lady. She's stressed. Actually,
Oh,
she was in a very bad space. And the minute I look at her, I just wanted literally to start crying. I go, oh, am I gonna bloody talk to her? I can't. You can't just walk to somebody and say, "Hey." But then I said, "Okay, that's fine." I saw her actually registering. She wanted to talk to a medium. But before, no, actually, before she registered for the medium, for the psychic, sorry, I come close to her and I say, "Are you all right?" And automatically she goes, "Who are you?" It's like I said, "No one." But whatever it is that is bothering you, that is stressing you, it's gonna be okay. That's all I want to tell you. It's gonna be okay.
mhm.
Don't hold it in. Just let it flow. And please continue. I apologize. And I moved aside and I started continue looking at their crystals, wherever. I saw her registering for a psychic. I said, that's good. I will help her. I saw something. I couldn't talk about it. And I wasn't going to talk about it. I leave the store and I find her outside waiting for me to come out.
Mhm.
She told me her story. I told her a bit of what I saw. I told her things are going to be okay, not to worry about it. She felt much, much better. Her whole energy, her whole beingness changed. She opened up her purse and she goes, I want to pay you. I said, please, ma'am, I'm good. Just, you know, things will be okay. Don't worry about anything. And I never saw her again. And I will never see her again. But it's just that feeling
It is.
that you get. And it wasn't mine. I didn't do anything. It was done through me
Mhm.
to help out that person because she needed it.
Yeah, and that's what we are, right? We're just a
Conduit.
channel. We're just, and Jen always talks, Jen's one of our friends. She always talks about us just being the tool,
Yeah.
right? We're just a tool. That's what we do. And, I've had instances like that as well, where it's been this one, we were in Toronto for an audition for my son. We were at this restaurant and selfless service. Yeah. We were at this restaurant and the guides, this was one of the first times they like pushed me to do stuff, right? So I kept getting the message that I was supposed to tell this manager that she had nice energy. I'm like, I can't just walk up to the manager. I'm in Toronto. I'm like, and I was new. Like I was only like probably level 2. So I'd only just started sort of getting these messages. It wasn't really strong yet. And so I was like, okay. And I go off to the washroom. I come back and my mom's talking to her now. And they're like, tell her she has nice energy. I'm like, I'm not telling her she's got nice. This is happening in my head, not out loud. I'm not telling her she's got nice energy. She's going to think I'm crazy. Tell her she has nice energy. I'm like, no. So then we go to leave, right? And we're standing at the top of this stairwell, which is the only way in and out of the restaurant at this particular door. And they're like, tell her she's got a nice energy. I said, no, I'm not telling her that. And we turn to walk down the stairs. They start bringing pop up the stairs. We can't get out. And they said, see, tell her she's got nice energy. I'm like, fine. So I turned to her and I said, I'm an energy worker. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I said, I know this is going to sound weird, but I really need to tell you that you have nice energy. She burst into tears and she's like, I so needed to hear that today. And she hugged me. And I was like, oh, so they totally knew it was best for her. That's how this works. And it turns out that she knows my Reiki Master's Master in Ottawa. And so it was quite an eye opener. And that's happened a few times since where they've been like, tell them. And sometimes it's in the weirdest places. I had another time when we were in a restaurant and there was this little girl and I looked at her and obviously she's like a little light worker, when you see them and they're like they see past you. They're like seeing your energy, not just your who you are. And we locked eyes for a minute, and I'm like, oh. And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to go tell her mom that she's got a big mission. I'm like, I am not getting up in the middle of the restaurant. I'm there with my mother's friends. I'm like, I'm not getting up in the middle of the restaurant to go and tell her mom, and she's misbehaving. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Next thing I know, I'm on my feet and I'm on my way over there. I'm like, would you guys leave my body alone, please? I end up over telling her that. And I said, she has a really big mission. She's got a great energy. She's really going to go far. And her mother's response was, well, she's not being great right now. I said, in time. I walked away. And I was like, okay, I think that's for future, not for right now. So when you talked about planting seeds, right? I was like, oh, okay, that's what I was doing. I was planting seeds for later on for this woman or for her daughter.
But it's funny, we don't realize what is happening. You know, when you take your camera and you focus on a person, you take a picture, then now it's within seconds. Before you have to wait 2 weeks until it's get developed.
We're showing our age there, Ramzi.
It's blurred. No, shoot.
And I can't go back and retake it. Yeah.
So you look at the picture and you're focusing still on that person or an object that you're focusing on, and it comes out beautiful. And then if you expand your vision, you see much more than that. You see the background, you see the trees, you see other people, you see a lot. And there's a whole community in this little picture that we actually miss on a daily basis. Because we're so focused into getting somewhere, doing something, achieving, that we miss on the beauty of what's around us.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not something that is just for those people that didn't wake up. Even the awakened ones still do that.
Of course, we get caught up in our 3D.
We get caught up in stuff that we're doing that we don't realize what is happening. And that what I was going to say, I lost my chain of thought. But
they're talking to him. It's okay.
If you just focus and allow things to happen, you are more in tune with life. Rather than focus on a small thing, you're just enjoying it all. And life will take you wherever you're supposed to be. We're supposed to go. You can struggle to get there, or hustle, or whatever it is to get there, which you can do. It's very easy. People do it every day. Or you could say, okay, this is where I'm going to go. Guys, need your help. Let's work together to get there. And maybe there is not the right place for you. It will shift. And if you accept the shift, you're on the right path.
Yeah. And if you don't, you're going to be a slow learner like me. And they make you do it again. Just like my story.
And you have to do it multiple times if you do it that way.
I know.
Multiple times.
I try to be better. Yeah. That was early. That was 8 years ago now. So,
and I'm sure everybody can resonate to this, to our talk today, because it's not something unique to the select few. They're not 144,000 people or something to that effect. There's a bloody number that circulates.
Those are the ascended masters. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not only them that hold the power. We are all part of the power. We're all part of this. I was going to say the F word again. This beautiful journey, because no matter how hard it is, you make it harder by saying that it's hard.
Mhm.
And if you look at it afterwards, you realize that it wasn't as bad as it. Look at any situation that you had in the past. Somebody told me one time, tragedy plus time equal comedy.
Mhm. Isn't that true though? Don't we laugh
It
at
is.
ourselves after the fact?
It is. And I look back, and by the way, whoever doesn't know me on the call, I grew up in Lebanon, which is a 10-year war. I lived from 1980 to 1991 during the war, and I've seen the horror of the human ego. Uh, I used to work in not used to work, but I volunteered with the Red Cross so that I don't have to carry a weapon and end up, killing someone because that's something that I could not live with.
Mm.
So I had someone pull an M16 on my head, like literally in my head, like this. Do this for us now. I was part of the Red Cross. At that time, of course, everything froze for whatever period of time it was. It was over. They left. Everything came back to normal. And I was angry, and there's a lot of emotion and sadness and hatred and all kinds.
Mhm.
And I look at it today and I go, my God, that person was so scared that he had to use a weapon on an innocent Red Cross person that is helping his colleague.
Mhm.
And I go, okay, fine, I bless him. And these, they happen later on in life, those moment of clarity. But all I wanted to say is that no matter how dark that point is, there's always light in it.
Mhm.
And you might not be able to see it today, but you'll definitely see it
In
later
time.
on in
Yeah.
time. And these are the little nuggets, the little seeds that were left behind by someone else that helps shape who I am today and who is everyone on this call too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
these are what shifts us from a certain perspective on life to something else.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you.
Hey, Jackie. Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of these things that happen to us, they all happen for a reason. And we wouldn't be the people we are without that. And
no,
so when I look back at all the things that have happened to me, I feel blessed, really, because I couldn't do what I do right now if I hadn't gone through it.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's
And
pretty,
the darker the place that you've been in, the brighter the space that you get to.
yeah,
But there's a little button there.
if
You
you
can
want to.
continue moving upwards into the light, or you can curve and say, poor little me, and you're
Mm,
back in the same hole again.
yeah. It's that
I've done,
victimhood, the
yes.
victimhood, right? Hmm.
Uh, I've done that. I know myself. I've done it before.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's part of being human too, right? So
Yeah,
like we shouldn't be hard on ourselves. It's just to bring it to our awareness so that we can work through it. Because I think that's one of those things that we don't see in ourselves,
yeah,
is that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that we're caught up in like the drama triangle thing. We've talked about that before. Playing one of the three roles, the hero, victim, or villain. So we're caught up in that sort of drama triangle. And we're not able to see that we're actually in the triangle until we can take a step back and kind of look at it from a higher perspective. And I think that's part of what awakening is in the big picture,
yeah.
is being able to step out of it and become that observer of ourselves instead of being caught in the drama of life and just having blinders on, right? And getting to know ourselves.
Absolutely. Uh, that becoming an observer
Hmm.
is what changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
And
is
self
what
acceptance. I think both.
I think. I don't know which one comes first, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It
As
might be a
you're right.
chicken and egg thing, but
Yes.
they are really both very important.
Yes.
Self acceptance and forgiveness of anything that you've done, because if you when you start to realize the depth of everything and why we're here, and that everything is a lesson or a blessing, right? That's what they always
Yeah.
say. Um, and we're meant to learn those lessons. That is why we're here, rather than thinking that we're bad and we're wrong. We're meant to go through that lesson. Not pleasant all the time, right? But when we're meant to go through it, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And, when we can start to look at life in that way, it helps us to realize that things are not as it seemed.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And on this note, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a bit shorter than usual, but we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. If you have any questions, you want to talk to any of us, please, you can hit me up on ramseychidi.net and set up a 15-minute call. My 15 minutes usually end up an hour, but
It's kind of like mine.
yeah. Or you can check with the Tanys Coffee, twillerlifestyle.ca.
Yeah.
Not tennis, it's twillerlifestyle.ca.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you
Thank
all
you
for being
all.
with us. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Sending you all tons of love.
Yes, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. I don't know how to do this. All right.
Yes,